Hello and welcome to Byju's Exam Prep IAS. So today's video is about the introduction to world history itself. As you know, world history is a part of GS paper 1, and though it is mentioned just as a small part of GS paper 1, it is important in the larger story of your preparation because when we talk about modern India or even international relations, it gives you a better understanding. What we'll understand through this video are 3 to 4 important things, which is what is the sources, what is the course structure, and how does the syllabus mention world history itself. So basically, world history, as I told you, GS paper 1, but international relations or modern India, world history becomes important because world history is the base on which all modern Indian events are happening. So let's see what does the syllabus exactly say. And the unfortunate aspect here is that UPSC has been very vague in the way they have defined world history. What they argue is history of the world, which include events from 18th century such as Industrial Revolution, World Wars, redrawal of national boundaries, colonization, decolonization, and political philosophy such as communism, capitalism, socialism, and its effect on the society. Now, basically, this means that they have not given us a starting point and they've not given us an end point. They haven't even told us what colonization, what decolonization. So, basically, the course, what we have planned for you, will try to comprehensively cover all these lacuna points, all these gaps, and also fill up them with basic details which can help you in writing an answer in GS paper 1. So the syllabus, when we look at it, it gives us a starting point which is 18th century, but vague starting point. So we start with American Revolution in that regard because that is the birth of modern world history in that regard. And we will also try to give you a basic understanding of Renaissance, Reformation, Scientific Revolution, Enlightenment. That is my job in that regard. But basically, the syllabus is vague. And if you look at the pattern itself, from 4 questions previously, now either 1 question is coming, 2 questions is coming. The basic point is we don't have to go into too much detail. This is the major takeaway you have to take away from this video itself, is that you don't have to get caught up into nitty-gritty. Larger story and significance, impact, cause is enough to write any answer, and that is the type of questions which are coming through also. And as I said, I will also tell you about the sources which you need to read and which we already have given one book to you, and there are 2 NCERTs in that regard which you have to cover. So how do we go about our course? So what we've done is we've divided the whole course into 12 modules. And these 12 modules will give you a very good chronological understanding of world history from American Revolution, which is 1776. Here I'll talk about the story of the discovery of the New World. So I'll actually start in 1492 itself and then come to 1776. So I'll start in 18th century, then French Revolution, Napoleon. Both are connected in a way because the French Revolution will be induced because of the American Revolution itself. Then we'll talk about unification of Germany and Italy. This is the aspect where it says redrawal of national boundaries, which is nothing but nationalism. So nationalism in that sense. These 3 are the most complicated units because of the fact that event-based history is there. Thereafter, it will become a little bit more theoretical in that regard. But this creates all the actors which are needed. For example, America, France, Germany, Italy, and in that sense, the most important, which is England, how it was acting at this point of time in these basic stories. Then we'll move on to the next set, which is Industrial Revolution, the only theme which deals with economics, but very important because though it is intermeshed into the larger story, what we will do is we'll do it separately so that you know what we mean. We'll do 3 phases in this. Basically, we'll understand Great Britain separately, then France and Germany, Japan, Russia. So we'll have a very comprehensive understanding of all geographical spheres in that regard. Then from here on, we'll go into political history. And in political history, what we cover is we have to reach technically Cold War. And that starting point will start from Eastern Question and road to the First World War and the First World War. Here we'll reach 1919 Treaty of Versailles. Now this story is interconnected. All other themes which you see here henceforth will be interconnected. Russian Revolution, capitalism, socialism, communism, all ideologies, Marxism will be discussed here. Then Interwar period, rise of Hitler, rise of Mussolini. We'll discuss what is fascism, what is Great Depression here. Then further, we'll talk about the Second World War, Operation Barbarossa, Dunkirk, Normandy, everything we will do, the entry of the US, Pearl Harbor. It's going to be a very interesting section in that regard. And then the last theme in that regard in this series is Cold War and the disintegration of USSR. So we'll come to 1991 here, and basically our story started in 1776 and we'll reach 1991, thereby completing the whole story of world history. This is the basic timeline of world history, which is the political story, Industrial Revolution, the economic story. Socially, we'll be discussing what is generally happening. And then we have two standalone topics, which is Chinese Revolution and colonization and decolonization. Chinese Revolution, just to contextualize China in the larger story. And this is because explicitly it is mentioned in the syllabus. We will do it separately. It used to be that UPSC used to ask a lot of questions from African colonization, decolonization. Now they've moved beyond that in that regard. But basically, as you can see, the course is structured in a way that everything is covered comprehensively as much as possible. Now, if you look at the trend has been changing quite a lot, from 4 questions to 3 questions to 2 questions. 2020 was an exception year, no question came, but 2021 we have one to 2 questions for sure we will have. So you can't dismiss world history by saying that I will not do it, because then what will happen is that international relations and modern India will make no sense. And basically world history's understanding is very, very important for understanding modern India. For example, August Offer, Cripps mission, why they left in 1945-47, the Lithgow basic concept, the Japanese onslaught, INA, everything will make only sense with world history itself. And generally, because the questions are now becoming more and more interesting, very conceptual ones, this area should not be a problem. These maximum 20-25 hours will be enough for you to actually understand everything you need to know for world history itself. And as I said, we've already given you a basic book, which is a Byju's branded book for world history. But the approach is going to be very, very simple. You will see these videos, you will try to understand the timeline. Once you have an understanding of the timeline, you will try to create a basic mind map of what is actually happening. Remember, cause, impact, and significance is what really matters. In every video, I will tell you how to approach that basic theme itself. But basically, timeline, mind map, basic cause, impact, significance is more or less enough. Nowhere the course will be very, very important. For example, how does the First World War happen? How does the Second World War happen? That is not important. So these 3 will be very, very important aspects we'll be dealing with. We'll do the previous year questions with you in that module itself. And we'll also give you some practice questions in that regard. Now, Byju's branded book is there. But if you've watched these videos, and you will go through all the 12 modules, once you'll come out of that, you don't need to go to any other source. But just as a form of revision, I would just suggest that you can obviously read India and Contemporary World 1 and Themes in World History. This has 2 topics, French Revolution and 1 topic on Industrial Revolution. And this deals with a little bit aspects related to, for example, Industrial Revolution and the World Wars. So you have the old NCERT also, which is Arjun Dev. You can read that. But basically what I want you to do is that you go through the videos, make your proper notes out of it, understand the cause, impact, significance, understand the basic concept. 1 question, 2 question, don't have to go into too much detail. Input should be equal to output. And remember one thing for sure, 1 answer in a month, or basically after mains, your world history preparation will increase. Because you need to know one thing, which is history has ancient, medieval, art and culture, world history, modern India, and post-independence. So basically history is not 1 subject but 6 different subjects, and post-independence and world history are specific to mains. They only come in mains, whilst you have ancient medieval which come only in PT. It is only art and culture in modern India which come in PT and mains both. So basically, when it's a properly main subject, you just have to create a basic understanding. You have to accelerate your preparation only when the mains comes through. So just use your videos in a very good way, which is to make basic notes. You follow what I'm trying to actually tell you. What I will be doing in each video is I'll give you the basic picture, the basic overview, what we do everywhere else, which is that I'll give you a basic timeline. I'll give you a very basic idea. I will revise with you within the video itself. First, the basic timeline. Then we'll look at the PPT, and then again a summary in the end. So we will learn once and revise twice, and then complete the story for world history. So I hope with this you understand what is the syllabus, which is very vague. The 12 modules which we are going to cover, each video is comprehensive enough to tell you what you need to know for that subject. And as I said, just read the NCERTs for revision, and the Byju's branded book is for that also. Thank you so much for your patience, and I hope that you will be meeting me in each and every video hereafter. Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.